Directorate, where under the e-learning directorate, this is a special directorate under Royal Commission College and Institute for Yanbu to handle all the matters related to e-learning. So our primary task today is to deal with Blackboard when it comes to administrations and also trainings, troubleshootings, and user support. Okay, so what we are going to do today is basically we will run 2 sessions of Blackboard examination workshop. All right, the first session will be today, Monday, 5th of April from 11 to 12. And tomorrow, inshallah, we'll have the second session, which is at the same time, okay, from 11 to 12. In the first sessions, we will have 2 presenters. The first one is Mr. Mohammad Amjadulla Baig, and the second one is Dr. Mohamed Kareemulla. We will be talking about planning your examination and exam integrity. And the second session is problem reportings and best practices. All right. Now, let me just quickly introduce to you on the e-learning directorate team. Basically, there are 9 members from all the campuses in the Royal Commission, Yanbu College and Institute. All right, so these are the members. Okay, it is headed by Dr. Ali Akbar as the managing director, with Dr. Yusuf Al-Muallim as the head of the e-learning department. All right, and then we have Mr. Kaiser as our secretary of the directorate, myself as a Blackboard system administrator. And then for each campuses, we have Dr. Mohamed Kareemulla as the YIZ representative, Mr. Abu Bakar as the YUC male campus representative. Then we have Ms. Roba as the female campus representative, Mr. Mohammad Amjadullah Baig, YTI campus, and finally we have Mr. Mohammad Qasim as the Yali campus representative. So if you have any problems, you will deal with directly with your campus representative. Okay, now for today's workshop, right, I will just briefly explain to you what is the intention of this workshop and the intended audience. All right, this workshop basically targeted for lecturers, head of departments, right, college managing directors, and the college administrators who have stakes in the conduct of examination. What we are trying to do here is that we have 4 objectives. Is to deal with the preparation of the exam. And the most important thing that we want to touch is how do you ensure the integrity of your exam, right, to avoid cheating. As you know that our exams are conducted online, and to prevent students from cheating is a big challenge for us. All right, and then what to do if you are having problems or your student is facing technical problem. Okay, and finally some best practices. What are the do's and don'ts to make sure that you can have a successful online examination. But bear in mind that this is not a workshop to teach you how to create what we call question in Blackboard, or how to use certain kind of questions. Okay, it is more on the administrative parts and the high level parts where we want to ensure that you can manage your exam well. For the details on how to create exam, how to add certain type of question, what are the type of questions like objective or fill in the blanks, all right? These details will not be covered, but if you have any problem in creating this kind of question, you can always check with your campus representative and they will explain to you in more detail. Okay? So today we're going to have two sessions. Session one by Mr. Amjadulla Baig and Mr. Kareemulla about the integrity. And towards the end of this session, we will have a survey, and we are going to post the survey link in the chat box, as well as later we will send the link through email. And at the same time, Mr. Kaiser will send an attendance form, and it is very important that you fill out the form properly because we will issue a certificate to all the participants. Make sure you write your name correctly in English and also in Arabic, okay, if you can. All right. So without further ado, I will pass the presentation to Mr. Amjadullah Baig and let him continue with the presentation. Okay. Sure.
Assalamu alaikum everybody. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, we can see that.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. Welcome to this workshop. Basically, the first part of the workshop today, I will be telling you about the exams. We will be doing the online exams using the Blackboard. This online test we can use to deliver any assessment ranging from quizzes, midterm, and final exams. And our focus will be for the final exams, which is coming now. Briefly, the benefits of the online test is that the tests are automatically scored, providing instant feedback for students and also removing a substantial amount of grading overhead for the instructors. This is the main thing actually. It helps to do automatic grading, except for a few questions actually where the manual grading is required. But the majority of questions you have automatically done by the Blackboard system. The subjective tests are easily gradable with, you can provide feedbacks for your students. Blackboard tests are paperless, eliminating the need to make photocopies. This is one of the most biggest advantage. You have it. Now the next thing is that to create a test, basically it's a three-step process actually. First you build a test, then you add the questions to the test, and the deployment of the test is done actually. Then we will see now the basic how the question types are there actually, how to add the different types. In Blackboard you have 17 different types of questions available actually. So the calculated formula question, calculated numeric question, fill in the blanks, fill in multiple blanks, true or false, multiple choice questions, multiple answer. So these are the different types which you see it. I have categorized in two boxes actually. The first box on the left, it is basically these questions, when you put it in your test, they are graded automatically. And the second box where I put the blue color, actually the boxes are blue color, these needs the manual grading actually. When you put these questions, you have to go to the grade center and just click on the exclamation mark provided for each student actually row, and you grade it and then you award the points actually. So these are the three types of questions where you have the gradings that is needed, that has to be done manually actually. And you see the pink box actually, this is basically we don't use for our online exams. It is a survey. Whenever you do any survey where you seek the opinion, how you like it or not on a scale actually. So basically this we use it. So I will not be focusing on all the different types, but I will just discuss few of the questions that we use for our exams. These are the commonly used questions actually. The calculated formula, the calculated numeric, fill in the blank, fill in multiple blanks, multiple choice, multiple answer, matching, true or false. Short answer, you can also have a essay type of answer if your course is a bit advanced, and a file response if you want to have somebody to, maybe if you are using some software, when you want some output, you can ask the student to just draw something and send the file actually. So I'll take the first question, that is the calculated formula question. This is a bit, it's a very good question actually. Here what happens, the students are presented with a question that requires them to make a calculation and respond with a numeric answer. The number in the question changes with each student and they are pulled from a range you set actually. Here, for example, if you define one question, maybe you have 20 students, each student will get the question, but the variables, the values of certain variables will change actually. So the correct answer is a specific value which, or a range of values you can set. You may grant partial credit for the question, and these calculated formula questions are graded automatically. And the beauty of the question type is that it allows you to randomize the value of variables in an equation, making it useful in avoiding cheating, as each student gets a different value in the question. I'll show you some screens actually from the instructor view and the student view actually. This is a sample question. If you see here, a bottle of juice comes in 500 ml and 2 liters. Okay, we are asking the student to calculate the total number of liters do you have if you buy X. This is a variable actually, small bottles, and Y, large bottles. So here what happens when you write the question actually, you put this one and you put in the brackets the variables actually. It is a square brackets or the square parenthesis. You put the variables, and these variables can take any values which you can define it. For example, X, you want to take any variable from 0 to 10, and Y, you want to take any variable from 0 to 50. Okay, then you type the answer formula also. Here what happens if you want to calculate the total liters for a 500 ml, it is half liter, and a 2 liter, that is half multiplied by X plus twice the time of the number of bottles that you have for the 2 liters. Okay, and you can have, for example, if you have 5 students, I have generated 5 different sets. And this question now, when the student views it, it is looking like this on his screen. A bottle of juice comes in 500 ml and 2 liters. How much juice in liters do you have if you buy 65 small bottles and 62 large bottles? This variable 65 and 62, it will be changing for every student actually. In this way, the students cannot cheat actually. Maybe some student is sending a WhatsApp message to another student that this is the answer, but that answer will not be correct. So such type of questions are very good actually. We can use for our math subjects actually. I'll give some more scenarios that will help you to understand this question actually. There are 2 examples which I have cited here. Here, what is the value of Z? Okay, this is the equation, Z is equal to 2A plus B. You made A as a variable and B as a variable. So this variable A is 74 and 54. Sorry, B is 44. This is for one set of students. The other set may be different values actually, whatever you have set it. And you can generate, for example, if you have 20 students, you can generate 20 different sets actually that will have different values. This is another example. I hope this is clear now. We'll go to the next type. The calculated numeric question. This is also a numeric question where you have to fill the answer in a numeric, you have to fill a numeric answer actually. For example, here the instructor view, you see what is 2 times 4, it is 8 actually. So in the blank, the student has to fill 8 actually. It's nothing but a fill in the blank question, but you have to provide a numeric value for this actually. The next question is the fill in the blank. This is how it looks from the instructor view. What is the currency of Turkey? Lira. So you have to just enter this in the box actually that will be provided for the student actually. Next comes the fill in multiple blank questions. Here you can have 2-3 blanks actually. For example, I have put the question, the 2 important cities of Royal Commission are, X is a variable that can take a blank and Y is also a blank actually. And you have to type the answers actually. And you can here have some certain match patterns also set actually. You can have case sensitivity if you want it. If you don't want case sensitivity, you can remove that option. Okay. So this is the way how the student will look this question actually. He has to write in this box the answers for this question. So basically fill in the blank and fill in multiple blanks are same, but in multiple blanks, the number of answers, the number of blanks increases actually. The next is the multiple choice question, which you use very often actually. Here you have a list of options. The student has to select one right choice. So this is how it looks from the instructor point of view, and this is the student view actually. The next is the multiple answer questions. Multiple answer questions require a student to answer more than one answer actually. Maybe you have 2 or 3 answers that are correct in your option list. So they have to select here from this option list. This is the student view. In this box, he will check the answers that are correct actually. That will have more than one answer for that question. Now the matching question, this is also we very normally use for our exams. You have to match the on the left side what you have on to the right side actually. Here the beauty of this question is that if you have equal number of things what you have on the left and the right, then there is a probability that at least a student who is smart, if he doesn't know, at least one answer he can get right by putting the same choice for all the options actually. But to avoid that also, we can have on the right side the matching patterns. You can have more number of items compared to the one which you have here. You have 4, here you can have 6, 7, 8 like this, okay, and he can choose it actually. So this is how the student view it looks when this question is drawn actually. True and false, this is a very basic question. Just a statement is there, you have to choose either a true or a false. This is how it looks. Short answer questions. Basically, we may ask some students to write something actually, like for example, I want to list any 3 advantages of social media. So this question, when student gets it, it's look like this. He will get an editor actually. This editor will help him to type the answers actually. He can list his answer here with the help of all the tools, the font size, everything, he can use it. Okay. But this question is not automatically marked. It requires the manual marking actually. The next is a file response question actually. For example, if I am using Visual software to teach them actually, and I want them to know how to use the blocks and all these things, I will say using the Visual software, draw the block diagram of a computer system. And then I have put a note, you need to attach the Visual file. So the student, what happens, he will use his software in his computer, he will do it, and then he will save the file. And then after finishing it, wherever he has saved the file, he will attach it using this type of, he will browse the file and attach it actually. So this is for the file response questions. Now, the next thing is that you have seen the common types of questions basically, which we use it. I have covered all the common type of questions that will be covered in the exam. Now, randomization is a very good feature that you have in Blackboard actually. Basically, you want the students to get different sets of questions. For that, you have to make some pools, and then you have to use the randomization features actually. So I will just briefly tell you about what are the 3 types of randomization that Blackboard supports actually. The first randomization is randomizing question presented. All students will get different questions. This means you need a larger question pool actually, and you're drawing your questions from that pool so that the probability of 2 students getting the same question will be unlikely. Maybe some questions will be repeated, but a majority of questions will be different if the pool size is very big. The second type of randomization is that same questions, but the order is different actually. You have 10 questions for each student. The same 10 questions will come, but the order of questions for each student will be different. For example, he will get fill in the blank at the start. The other guy will get the short question. So that order will change actually. And the last one is the answer randomization. The answers for the specific question are randomly ordered. For this is basically for the multiple choice and the multiple response questions. The order will change actually. Each student will have a different order. So maybe if somebody is sending on WhatsApp message to his colleague, the answer is C. Maybe the order is different. So in this way, you can try to avoid the cheating actually. You have to apply all these 3 set of randomizations actually that will help you. I have shown here in this slide, I just showed one sample example that may change also. You can have your own techniques. Just for example, I have a course where I have 3 modules actually. The course is divided in 3 modules, and I want my final exam that will cover all these modules equally. So I have made 3 pools actually. This is the pool 1, where I have drawn 15 MCQ questions from this particular pool, the module 1, 15 fill in the blanks questions, and there are 10 short answer questions. Similarly, I made another pool which covers module 2, and the same set of questions are there. And also for module 3, I have the third pool actually. And then when I create a test, what I will do is I will create random blocks. I will create 3 blocks. The first block will pull questions from the pool 1. He will pull 2 questions of MCQs, 2 questions of fill in the blanks, and 1 short question actually. And from the other pool also the same thing. I will create another random block. And for the third one, I will create for the third module another random block. Then what happens if you see when the test is finished, each student will get questions from all modules actually. He will get 6 multiple choice questions, 2 from each module. He will get 6 fill in the blanks questions covering 2 from each module. And similarly, for example, here it's a typo here. It should be a short answer question. He should get 6 short answer questions, 2 from each module. This way, the exam will cover all the modules. And if this pool is bigger, maybe also you will get questions. The students will not get similar questions. Majority of them will get different questions actually. So using these pools and random blocks, you can create tests that are different actually, and that will help to avoid you cheating, because online exams we cannot monitor it. So basically you have always certain area where you have to make sure that you make all these techniques to avoid cheating. And also one more thing I will ask you to tell is that don't give a question, because I have seen a lot of them giving multiple choice questions and objective questions with the time period that is too much actually. For example, in 1 hour you have 10 to 15 questions, but that doesn't take more than 10 minutes, but you have given 1 hour. So if the time is more, the possibility of communication for the students is there, and the cheating is increased actually. So make sure that the time is also allotted as per the question weightage actually. Now, after you create the test, the next thing is the deployment actually, and the test settings which you apply. So the deployment, normally for your course, you have to go to your course page, and in the content folder, you have to deploy, create a folder, final exam like this, and make sure that this is visible, and then go to the test and select. You will find the options, the test which you have created. It will be listed here in this box actually. Now comes the test settings. I will not go into all the settings because there are some self-explanatory actually. Here the name, give a meaningful name. Final exam, don't make it as midterm exam, that will confuse the students. So your test should have a meaningful name. You can give some color here. The color can be little bit catchy, maybe a blue color or some color that will help them to catch actually. And then you can put some instructions in this box actually. You can say the exam is final exam, you have so much of 2 hours of time, and you can say that there are different 3 types of questions, answer all the questions, and some instructions, whatever you feel that is needed for your exam, you can put it in this box. And you can show this in test description before they start actually. Click this box, okay. And these are the, open the test in a new window. You have 2 options, yes and no. Better to go with the default option. I advise it that don't open it in a new window actually. Now the test availability and the timer options, these are very important. You have to make the link available for making the exam on actually. But don't think that once you make the link available, it will be available all the time. There are some settings here which you can try to open only at that particular specified time. You can set an announcement if you want it, okay. You can say, put an announcement, and that announcement will be displayed in the student's BB login actually. Multiple attempts for RCYCI final exams, we don't have multiple attempts, so I don't think this option you have to enable it. So just disable it. If you enable this option, the number 4, this grading, it will choose the first attempt or the last attempt like this. But for our final exams, we don't have it. So 3 and 4, you can just uncheck it, okay. Force completion, this thing actually, don't check this box actually. This is not recommended. Actually, basically, when this is used, when you use this box, sometimes if the particular screen is out or some connection is the Wi-Fi link or maybe the internet link get disabled for a small moment of time, then automatically the test is submitted and you cannot resume it. So for this we avoid this actually. So better not to enable this box. The timer, this is for the time of the exam. If it is 60 minutes, you can put 60 minutes or 120 minutes, and auto submit, you keep it on, okay. Then here, this is the important thing, the display after. For example, your exam is on a particular date, maybe Monday or Tuesday. You can set the date and the time, whatever time you want to display. Display after means it will be visible only, the exam will be visible for the student at this time. And this is until actually. Maybe you can keep the exam for 15 minutes as per the examination procedures. A student can take the exam, means he can be late up to 15 minutes. So you can have a slot here, maybe you can put 8 o'clock, and here you can put 8:15, and the date of the exam you can put it here. Okay. And the next part is the password. Actually, I don't recommend that you give a password. Only maybe my colleague, Dr. Kareemulla, will explain you. You need a password for the RDB, that is the Respondents Lockdown browser, when you use it. So he will explain. If you are not using it, I don't recommend a password for that actually. So basically, this is all the things which I have explained you before. So I'll skip this slide. Now this test availability exceptions. This is very useful actually. For example, you have an exam at 8 o'clock, and the maximum time the student can see this exam is till 8:15, and maybe due to some problems that are genuine actually, he could not get in till 8:15. He calls up the teacher, and the teacher says that he is justified with the student answer and he wants to add it actually. So you can make an exception for that particular student actually. How to allow him for the exam is just go to this text availability options, click add user. Then you will get this screen actually. You just select the names of the students will be listed for your particular course. Select the student for whom you want to allow it. Select that student. And then you have the options actually. You can give a single attempt. You can give the time for him and the availability you take it. Don't check this force completion. And then just click the submit button. So what happens, the student will see the exam and he will be allowed to take the exam. This basically depends upon the teacher actually. When he's been reported by any student, for some reasons the student cannot log in, and he will validate it, and then only he can do it actually. Next is the grading options. In the test you have this option. If you don't include this checkbox, include this test in the grade center, that particular test will not be available for calculations. So you have to make sure that you check this box. And also don't check this box hide results, because if you hide the results, that particular thing will not be available for the instructor actually. Do not check this option if the test will be used for grading actually. So these two you have to take care actually. Next is the presentation. These particular settings are basically for how the exam will appear when he opens the student view actually. You can have all the questions at once or one at a time. I prefer that go for all the questions at once actually. Prohibit backtracking. This is basically, if you check this box, if a student answers the question, the first question, and he goes to the second question, from that second question he cannot go back to the first actually. So even this option I don't like it, because I don't recommend it. Sometimes a student, he doesn't know the answer, he can skip the question and later on he can come back. But if this particular box is enabled, it will not be able to get him back actually. So don't use this box, it's not recommended actually. And the randomize the questions actually. This is needed actually, because the order of questions will be different for each student actually. This is the submit button. Now, once you did all the settings and all this thing, the test is ready. But for the multi-section courses, actually there are some courses, we have 5 sections in it. So every teacher who is teaching, he has to upload the exam for the student actually. The same exam and the same time it will start. So basically the course coordinator will take the lead actually in making the questions with all these team members. And then once he makes this test, he will give the same test to be deployed for all the teachers in their course, especially in the specific course content area. So how to import and export this one? Exporting the text. Once the course coordinator has done his test and everything is satisfied, and he wants the same test to be deployed for all the different sections of that course. So the teacher will get how he will get the file actually. Basically the course coordinator, he will click on the course tools, on the test surveys and pools. Then you have the option, you select the test here, you'll find all the tests that are listed, and choose the option export. And then when you click it, it will ask where you want to save the file. It will be a zip file actually on your computer. So once that file is saved, the course coordinator will give that file to each teacher, and the teacher has to import this file in his course content area actually. He will go to the course tools, the test survey, and then he will import the test, and this will import that file in his particular course, and he can do the deployment features and the settings what I have shown you earlier. This is basically for the import and export for the multi-section course actually. Next is the Okay, this is the same thing. The deployment, he will just browse it in the computer and finish it. Okay. Now there are some tips for the faculties actually, which already I have told, but I'm highlighting it here again. Don't check the force completion, because once you check this one, then what happens? The student cannot go back actually. So this is one thing which you need to make sure that you have to note it. This text availability exceptions, basically this is used actually for some student who could not get in actually within the 15 minutes time, and he has valid reasons. You can add it actually. Then the advice, this is actually make sure that all the questions are all at once and don't check the one at a time. Prohibit backtracking. This is very important actually. Already I have explained you this one. And this one actually, the file response question, if you are using it, please make it at the end of the test actually. Maybe sometimes what happens, the file is not uploaded, so at least the other part is saved actually. So better to close the file and then upload it actually. So it is always a good practice to place this question at the end of the test. And these are some things which you need to tell to your students actually when they take the test. Make sure that they use the Chrome, Firefox or Safari. Never use an Internet Explorer browser, because there are issues that has been reported with other browsers actually. So always recommended is Chrome, Safari and Firefox. Tell the student to use a laptop or desktop. Mobile devices tend to cause issues with the test. So better to use a laptop or a desktop. Don't encourage a mobile device. Always it is preferable if you use a wired connection over a wireless. Wireless connections can sometimes lose their signal, and it may have some problems actually. Save the answer. Every answer, it is always recommended, ask a student to save it, though it does it automatically, but on the safer side, if you click save answer, it is better. And these buttons actually, while taking the test, tell the student not to click actually. Don't press the refresh button, don't press the backspace button, don't press the enter button, don't use double clicks. Now instruct your student to turn off the pop-up blocker and just add the Blackboard site in the trusted list. Otherwise you get some pop-ups that will disturb you actually. So this is one thing. And this already save answer I have told you. And for the long essay responses, he can use the word processor, and after typing in the word, he can just cut and paste in the Blackboard box actually. That is recommended. Close the files. Suppose if you have a file response question, once you do the answer for that particular thing, and then you have to, instead of directly uploading it, you have to close the file, because the file will not, open file will not be accepted by Blackboard actually. So make sure that you inform the students that you save and then close. Okay. At the end, be sure to submit your test when complete. The save and submit button is very important. At the end, you will have this button. He has to click this one. And then the student will get a confirmation. The test is submitted. Ask the student just to take a snapshot of this picture actually. If something goes wrong, this can be a proof actually to show that he has taken the test, and maybe re-exams and all these things. We can decide it later actually based on the committee. These are some support URLs actually. So this is the e-learning agency website where you have all the information. This is the support form in case any emergency you need it. And this is also the support form actually. I finished my presentation. Hope now the question answers you can ask if you have anything.
Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Baig.
Walaikum assalam.
I have 3 points. One for the multiple answer.
Yeah.
Can you go back to this slide or talk like this? Multiple answers, the questions. Is
multiple answer?
Yes.
Which one?
Multiple answer questions. It's the first part of your presentation. You talked about the.
Okay, let me just. If you can tell the question type.
Yes, question types.
Which one it is?
First calculated formula, then.
Yeah, okay. This one?
This calculated formula and the numeric, and after that multiple. multiple answers. Multiple answer questions, there are some is you, maybe someone if use it, as you mentioned here, here
Okay.
you see there are only two right answers, other two is false. But if students select all boxes, he will get the full mark. This is very important to our college to يعني take care for that. And the only solution to make plenty
Yes.
for this kind of questions. You cannot give
Yeah.
this question directly,
You
but
can, Dr. Jamal, you can penalize for the wrong answers in this question. Actually, you can have this option,
yes,
like penalizing for the wrong answers. Actually, if he checks all the things, so the wrong answers penalization, you can do it actually.
yes, but our college should know these options for students is like a checkbox, a checklist. He can select
Yes.
all, but in the multiple choice, because it is يعني commonly used, he can check only one. But here can check
Yes.
all, and they will count as right answer.
Yes.
This is important to take care for that. The other point
Yeah.
about availability of the test. Availability of the test, you mentioned that you will leave it for 15 minutes, and you will
Yes.
allow each student يعني have a problem. Some students have the problem, but يعني he cannot say or reach the teacher for any reason. This one. Another one, this may be work with the small groups, but if big groups and long time of final, I see it is not advisable to make a limitation for the availability of the test. We should leave the test in the full period of the exam, because if any student يعني go out the exam for any reason, we can come back and continue automatically without someone to allow him or something. This will make a problem for big groups and long time period.
Dr.
Another,
Jamal, actually, basically there are some rules actually which we need to follow
yes,
actually.
rule not allowed in the online exam. This rule, when you have a hall and you already can allow students to enter or go back of the room, of the hall. But we are now not controlling the position like this. We should update our rules according to the online. Okay? Do not restrict ourselves to rules already put it for another situation. Okay? That's why it is very important in the long period exams with big number of students to make availability of the exam all the time.
Dr. Jamal, I think this particular
Okay,
thing can be discussed with
I
the
need my concern.
department level, how you can plan all these things, because the checks and the balances, what are the restrictions and everything. Maybe the
Last one.
department, up to each department, actually they can plan it and they can implement
Okay,
it for all the courses.
Excuse me. Okay, we are a bit short of time here. Actually, during our next session, we will have a longer time for this question and answers. Okay, so probably we should keep the question for the next session, and we can discuss this in a greater detail, because as we have about 1 hour to go, right? We need to let Mr. Kareemulla present what he has, and inshallah, tomorrow we can have more time for the question and answers. Okay, I'm sorry I have to cut the time a bit short because we are running out of time. All right, so
Thank
I
you
will
all for
let Mr. Kareemullah to continue with what he has, and probably some of the question will be answered in the next sessions. You know.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. I will leave now and give the floor to Kareemullah.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Can you see my screen?
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
So please let me thank Mr. Rafiq and Engineer Amjad Baig for giving me the opportunity to present my work. Without wasting the time, let's start with the okay, here are the topics of my presentation. Could you hear me, please?
Yes, Dr. Kareemulla.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Everything's good.
Okay, fine. So let me just go through the outline of this presentation. I'm going to talk about what is academic integrity, why do we need it, and what is a lockdown browser and responders monitor, how does it help us, and then what are the system requirements for lockdown browser and responders monitor, and the steps to implement the lockdown browser, and how to monitor the students' participation in the examinations, and finally the mock test, the importance of mock test, and the announcements regarding the LDB and the responders monitor, and the misconception about LDB and responders monitor, and another important topic of hiding the total theory lab marks in the grade book before the final examinations are conducted. Okay, to start with, what is academic integrity? Academic integrity is like it's a demonstration or practicing of honesty and moral values in an academic environment. So this academic integrity will help us, or the students and the staff, to work freely, and it will give the freedom to build with new ideas, knowledge, and creative works. At the same time, respecting the work of others. So in simple terms, if I want to say, oh, this academic integrity based on the 6 fundamental values, that is trust, fairness, respect, responsibility, and very importantly, the courage to implement, to take over this, even in case of the uh, the results, even the results are bad, even in case of bad results, in the bad situation also, we have to have the courage to maintain this academic integrity. So why do we need this academic integrity? So this academic integrity is very important to show others. Who are these others? Others are very important. So these others could be anybody, like it could be the accrediting bodies, or it could be the our students, employers. So they should trust they should trust our students. They should trust in our education system. They should trust in our degrees, what we are giving, the skills and knowledges. They should trust us. This is what we call it as academic integrity. So this we have to maintain this. So who is responsible to implement this academic integrity? It is all our responsibilities, everyone's responsibility in the academic setup. So starting from the academic, so the main important role here is every academician has to uh, ensure that integrity is maintained in every step of his teaching, learning, and especially the assessing the students. So we are mainly concentrating on how to assess the students with the full academic integrity. So academic integrity is like in one or the other terms, it will uh, it will reflect on the quality of our teaching. So that's why it is very important to maintain the academic integrity and the trust in our work. So one such implementation, the implementation of lockdown browser, especially the lockdown browser and the responders monitor, is one of the steps taken by the RCYCI to maintain the academic integrity. So this is what is the lockdown browser. I can say that lockdown browser is just a tool to maintain the academic integrity. How does it help? I think lockdown browser is the most discussed, I can say, debatable topic these days during the examinations among the students and the staff. Uh, so what happens? So what is a browser? Browser is just a interface which will help to connect us to the internet. So what is a lockdown browser? It's a custom made, any specially ordered, especially like a specially ordered browser, which will locks down the testing environment during the testing in the blackboard. When the students will take the test in the, see the name itself will tell you lockdown. It will lock down the whole testing environment. So what happens? The students cannot copy, he cannot print, he cannot open the internet, he cannot cut and paste, he cannot. So he's like handcuffed. So he cannot do anything. So he can do only look at the screen and answer the question. This is the only thing he can do. So the lockdown browser and the responders monitor is a product that is used to, that will help us to maintain the integrity during the online exam. So there are two things here. One is lockdown browser, and the second thing is responders monitor. So what is responders monitor? So responders monitor is just companion product of lockdown browser. So that means the web feature at the camera, what we call it as the camera features of is called as just simply it is a responders monitor. So responders monitor is a automated proctoring solution. So it is an automated proctoring solution. So we will not do the proctoring, but the monitor will do the proctoring. How does it does the proctoring? It will record the entire session, audio video session of the student's webcam when he take the exam, and it will try to detect the possible cheating behavior, that what we call it as the incident flags, like moving his head and talking using his mobile. Someone is joining him during the examination, talking to all these kinds of activities will be recorded as the incident flags by the responders monitor. But we should remember one thing, that all the movements made by the students cannot be treated as cheating. For example, a student is rubbing his eyes. So the it's a machine. It's a machine. It's artificial. It's programmed machine. So we cannot so the machine can think like a human being. So the student is rubbing his eyes, but it will be considered as one of the cheating case. It will be flat. So it is up to you how you will review this action, whether it is as a cheating or whether it is as a not. So we have to analyze ourselves this thing later. How to do it, I will just show you. So these are the two things. One is the lockdown browser, the second one is the responders monitor. But the question is, do we need both? Yes, we need both for maintaining the high quality of academic integrity. We need both. So when we need only one, for example, I can implement the lockdown browser alone. I can implement it, provided I am doing the exam in the campus and it is proctored by the teachers, like in the computer labs, like in the classrooms. I'm conducting the examination. So at that time, I need only the lockdown browser. That is fine, because the proctor is available in the classroom. So he will be just looking at the students. So, but for the non-proctored test environment, lockdown browser plus the responders monitor are required, just to avoid the cheating. So these days, cheating has become, to maintain the integrity of the examinations and the quality of teaching, it has become a big challenge. So definitely we need the tools like the lockdown browser and responder monitor to maintain the academic integrity. So just let me highlight the few key features of this lockdown browser. When the exam is opened, it will be in the full screen mode. That means you cannot resize the window. You cannot minimize the window. Once you open the lockdown browser, it will be the full screen mode. So you will not have the menu bar, toolbar like your normal standard browsers. You will have only few buttons like back, forward, refresh, and stop. These are the only few buttons you will see that. And the students will not be able to open any other application like messaging, on screen, remote desktop applications or anything. He will not be able to open it. And even the print screen and print capture, printing options are completely disabled. Right click options, the right click menu options, then that is the what we call it as the context menu, the function keys, shortcut keys like Control C, Control V, all these are disabled. So the students cannot exit the exam unless he submitted the exam for the grading. he cannot exit. But he can exit it provided he has to give a reason why he is exiting. It's possible that someone has finished his exam. He has to give a reason, and he tried to exit before, and he will just closing the exam without any reason. When he has done, at least he has to say, yes, I am done. That's it. So once the exams are set up with the lockdown browser, we cannot open it. The students cannot open it with any other regular browser. So once the exam, I set up an exam with a lockdown browser, the student has to open only with the lockdown browser. They cannot use the normal browser. So as Mr. Amjad mentioned, so we have to remember that Internet Explorer has issues. So try to avoid, except that we can have Chrome and other what he mentioned. So these are the system requirements. So LDB for the LDB installation, and so we don't need anything much. For whatever we have, that is more than enough. So what we need is a working device, preferably a laptop with camera. Laptop with working camera and a stable internet connection. And then this is one important thing is where you have to download and install the LDB is from. So the link which provided here, provided by our institution, is specific to only this institution. This is specific institution link. Many students will search in the internet for, okay, I want to lockdown browser download. So they will get tens of links to download the lockdown browser. No, they shouldn't do that. So this link is specific to the institution. It is licensed to our RCYCI Jubail. So and moreover, first of all, it is not free. It is not only one-time purchase, but we have to renew it periodically. So that's why we prefer. So in the guidelines of the students, we have clearly mentioned that from where they have to download, and then from where they have to download this, and then how to set up. The complete instructions are given for the students in both in Arabic and English. So the students should know this one. Please remind them. Then how to implement the lockdown browser. So the implementation of the lockdown browser is the third step. First step is prepare the test. We know how to prepare the test. Then deploy the test as usual. We know how to deploy the test. The third step comes here to configure the LDB, or in simple terms, I can say link your test to your LDB. So LDB lockdown browser, it is one of the options available in the course management control panel, course tools, and responders lockdown. So you will open. So once you open the responders lockdown browser, you will see a screen like this. If you see a screen like this, then all your tests will be displayed here. All your tests will be displayed here. So choose the test whichever you want to, and make sure that you have two things here: lockdown browser and monitor. So this is LDB and this is RM. This is responders monitor. The only thing is use your settings. Click this down arrow key. You will get a menu. In this menu, choose the setting. Then once you choose the setting, you will go to the next step. So it will open a very big page. This is very important. So there are two sections here. One section for the lockdown browser and one section for the proctoring. This is for the responders monitor. So here is the main challenge to choose. So we have so many options here. By default, all these options will be checked. By default, it will be all checked. So enabling the too many options may delay sometimes, or sometimes even the students cannot start the examination. So that's why we have to be very careful which option to use and which option not to use. So we will recommend what are the options and what are the options. In the next few screens, I will show you what are the options to be chosen and not to be chosen. So to start with, first the lockdown browser setting. Once you open it, by default, this radio button will be selected. Do not require the lockdown browser. So what you need to do, require the lockdown browser. That means you want to use the lockdown browser. Yes. So here is the password. Please don't use the password. This is not recommended. We don't use it. And after that, in this advanced setting, we have so many settings. So we recommend don't use any of this. What is this? If you want to know what this, okay, lock students into the browser until the exam is completed. If you want to know the details about this, you can bring your mouse cursor. You are over here, and if you click here, you don't have to click. Just bring your mouse here. You will see the description here. You will see the description of what it does. Like for example, here I have enable calculator toolbar. So this is just only to just show you that a standard scientific calculator can be enabled or disabled. So we recommend don't use this option. Just only thing is, if you want to use lockdown browser, just use this lockdown browser. And the second screen here is the proctor. This is the webcam setting. By default, do not require. So you need to choose here require responders monitor. There is another option here called allow instructor. So this is still a beta version. We don't recommend this. So the recommended option is require responders monitor. And once you, so here the startup sequence. This is the startup sequence. By default, as I told you, everything will be selected. So there are few options that you cannot, there is no escape. For example, webcam check, there is no escape. We have to do this. Here, additional instruction, not required. Guidelines, not required, because our students will not read anything. And student photo, yes, maximum, you can take the student photo. If you want to have additional instruction, you can have it. But all these things, it will delay in starting the examination. Student ID, you want them to show the student ID in front of the camera? Okay, if you like it, you can take it. But all this, and then environment check. That means the student has to make it, I mean, he has to take his camera, I mean, he has to take his mobile device and his laptop physically, and then he has to move around his to show the surrounding where he's sitting. I don't think these things. Then facial detection check. This is we must. There's no escape for this. It will do it. So these two things. So the first thing, the webcam check. This is for the hardware check. This will check here two things. One is your camera and your mic. This is the the second thing here is the facial detection check. So facial detection means you are sitting properly and you are facing the camera properly, and then you are doing your exam. And there is one option here, two options. By default, it will be selected. You need to uncheck this. That means what? Prevent students from starting the exam if the face cannot be detected. So yes, if the face cannot be detected, you can start. You don't allow the student to start the exam. That means someone is sitting with him and he's not sitting in a place where he's supposed to sit. This is so that's why prevent students from starting the exam if the face cannot be detected. You have to check this. And this one, you can uncheck it. Notify the students during the exam if the face cannot be. That means if the student is moving just a little bit away from the camera, he will get a pop-up window, like a warning window. So this warning window sometimes is irritating. The students may get irritated. So that's why we don't recommend this. So these are the minimum things that you need to choose it. This is our recommendation. Okay, once you set up the lockdown browser and the responders monitor, it will look like this. So it will says required. So here, for example, the sample, this is the name of the test. So it requires, it is required, and it is required. And there is a word of caution here. I don't know why it is given so small. They should have given in the bold letters. This is very, very important. That means once you set up the lockdown browser and the responders monitor, you should not go back to the test and make any changes in the test. Like for example, name of the test and any marks or any question you added, anything like it, password. Remember, once you set up the lockdown browser, automatically a auto-generated password will be generated and it will be saved in the password field. Do not remove that password. If you remove that password, the students cannot open. So it is auto-generated password. So don't go back. So in very simple terms, once you set up the lockdown browser, don't go back to the to your test and make any changes. That's it. Even if you make changes, and if you come back and see the test, you will get this error here. You can see the error. You will see this error indication. But next to the error indication, there is a button called fix it. So if you see this fix it, please just you can click this one. Automatically your changes will be applied. Whatever the changes you made, you apply. If you don't do this one, if the students try to open the exam, they will get error. So that's why we don't recommend. Once you set up the lockdown browser, do not go back to the test and make any changes. If at all you need to make any changes, again you come back and fix it, and then students can start the examination. This is a very, very important point, and many of us will forget. Yes, we connect, we just apply, and then we make changes and we forget to do this. So we will have a lot of problems. Yeah, so this is the startup sequence, how it looks like when the students log in to the lockdown browser. It's a very painful process. He has to go through almost like 8 to 9 steps. He has to go through 8 to 9 steps. So if you select all the options, as I told you before, if you select all the options in the lockdown browser, in the responders monitor, he has to go through all this. Number one, terms of use, he has to agree. There is no escape. Then webcam check. This is the main part. So here it will ask you. So you have to, it will ask you, do you see your image? You have to say yes. Then it will ask you to record a 5-second audio. Like you ask it, okay, read a sentence. Then you will play back and then you will say, okay, I can hear my voice, something like that. So webcam check and audio check. This is for the hardware check. There's no escape. You have to do this. So this you can skip it. Guidelines and tips. You think there is 5 pages of info. Students will have the patience to read all this? No. And then student photo. Yes, you can ask the student to take a photo. It is just a one-click photo. So then you can continue. Then show your ID. I think this is so environment check. So ask the student to show his environment, where he's sitting. That means make sure that no one is with him. Step number 7, additional instruction if there is anything from the college, from the department, no need. Then this is the last step, that is facial detection. This is very important. So that means you have to sit in front of the camera in a very good position so that your clear face will be detected. And once it is detected properly, then you will see the green thumbs up. If it is not, you will see the red thumbs up. Red thumbs, so this is not thumbs down, so red thumbs down and green thumbs up. So you should have the green thumbs up, then you say continue. So this is one way of maintaining the integrity of the exams. So now the question is there how to monitor the student participation? Is there any way to see the students live proctoring? With the lockdown browser, it is not possible, but only the video will be recorded and later on you can check the video for any plagiarism activities. How to see the video? There is a option called class results in the settings. I will show you in the next screen. But one thing we should remember here is it is highly recommended to live proctor the students through video conferencing tools like Zoom or Google Meet or Team, etc. if you are not implementing lockdown browser. If you are not implementing the lockdown browser and responders monitor, you have to use any one of these tools to maintain the integrity of the examination, to see what your students are doing, because he can open the camera and he write the test. Yeah, this is the responders monitor videos, how it looks like. When you go to the, as I told you, when the exam is finished, don't expect the video to available immediately after the exam. It may take some time to process the videos, maybe 1 hour or 2 hours, or maybe more than 2 hours it may happen. So that's why you should have the patience to make to see the videos. So how to see the videos? You have to choose the class result. Once you choose the class result, you will see all the students list here, and this is your priority, that is your review priority. So we have 3 types of priorities: low priority, medium priority, high priority. That means the high priority is starting from green to red. When it reaches to the red, assume that this student has done something, any unwanted, any he's trying to cheat or whatever it is, we don't know. So if you want to see the video, just click this plus button and then you will see the complete video of the student, and you will see the thumbnails of the students videos, where you will see the activities, the any the how, I mean, what type of activity he has done, why it is recorded as a high priority. That you can check it. Once you see the video, you can check all those details. So this is about how to see the video. Where to see the video? You go to the class results and you will see this. So this is another important thing, the mock test and using the LDB. So we have to make sure that if we are using the lockdown browser in our exams, we have to make it, we have to announce it. We have to announce it that we are using the lockdown. So don't surprise the students without announcing them that you are not, the lockdown browser is used. Please inform them in advance so that they will be ready. And also it is very highly recommended to give the practice tests using the lockdown browser before the real examinations. So this practice test can be it can be ungraded, it can have multiple attempts. Let them practice as much as possible. Yeah. What are the misconceptions about the lockdown browser? So the misconception, one of the misconception is it will worsen the anxiety of the students, nervousness, anxiety. This is normal. Exam itself is a anxiety for the student. So I don't think this is this is true, because frankly speaking, he's sitting in his environment, he's sitting at his in her comfort, she's sitting and then she's writing the exam, and there is no teacher and no one is there to disturb him. Honestly, it should not be more, he should be more free. This is not correct. And it says that so one of the misconception is that this LDB will steal the data of the student. It will take the private data of the students, it says. But the LDB company claims that it will try to collect as much as less possible data. It will try to connect. So this is the claim from the LDB. And the CEO of LDB, he says that he argues that this software has been categorized as a spyware or malware. So what is a spyware or malware? Malware or it's a piece of code that you intentionally put it into, you will spread it, you will create and you'll spread it just to steal, to harm others. But this is not the case happening with LDB. LDB is being used in the education system worldwide. So he gave a very good example. He said that soldiers are similar to the terrorists because they both have weapons. Because LDB is a soldier, it's like he's monitoring you, but it doesn't mean that he is a terrorist. And also, there is no solid proof that LDB or the lockdown browser will have impact on the device working. It will slow down, it will crash, it will spoil, it will. Our students, we receive hundreds of complaints saying that my laptop is crashed, my hard disk is crashed, my system is down, it will kick me out. So many things they will say. But the LDB company says we don't have any proof like that. They will say, Josh, show us one proof that this LDB has harmed this harm has been happened because of the LDB. We don't have anything like this. Yes, if something happened with someone, with somewhere, it is just because of the hardware of the student, or because of the programs that residing in his computer. It is because of this. So we say that if anything happen, if you say that I cannot install it, it is not my system, I could not install it, the lockdown browser, we say only one thing: format your PC. Format your PC, make it as a fresh piece, then you will install it. Inshallah, it will work. So this is about LDB. The another integrity, to maintain the integrity, we have to do this, and we tend to forget this, and we are forgetting this. Hiding the menu items during the examination. So let's say, for example, this is the student preview. In this student preview, I have online classes, study material, assessments, and final exam. So my final exam is here. So when the student is taking the exam, all these are open, visible to him. If you want to open the study material, he can open the study material, ebook or anything. He can just open and see whatever he wants. If he's not using the lockdown browser, please. If he's not using the lockdown browser, he can open any of these menu items and he can cut and paste directly from there and into the examination. So we need to hide this. It is very important. We need to hide whatever is not required. How to hide it? I'll just show you in a very fast way. The study material. So there is a down arrow key. So if you click the down arrow key, you will get a menu here. Choose this hide link. So once you choose the hide link, this hide, so you will get a study. So the next to the material, this item, you will get something like a square with a forward slash and it are cutting something like. So this is the screen it will look like. So how it looks like after I hiding the items. After I hiding the items, this is the student preview. I don't have any item here. So the only item which is available here is final theory exam. He will click and he will start the exam. Then hiding the columns, that is the final theory and final lab. So this is not done automatically in the blackboard. So we need to do it manually. How to hide? For example, yeah, how to hide this? So you go to the any item, because I don't have here the final examination yet. So you go to any column header in the grade book, in the full grade book. Select the full grade book. In the full grade book, you will see the columns here: first name, last name, quiz 1, quiz 2, whatever it is. Let's say I select here the midterm theory. Just to the midterm theory, you will see the down arrow key here. So just press this one, you will get a big menu like this. Once you get a big menu like this, from here, choose hide this from the students on and off. Just click once, so it will be hidden. How do you know that it is hidden? Once it is hidden, you will see the mark like this. You will see an indicator like this is your midterm theory examination is hidden from the student. So this is how you will. But this is for final theory and final lab. We have to, and also we have to hide the total, because this total is a running total. So if you don't hide this running total, our students are very clever and they will start, taking from the total. They will detecting, okay, what is okay. Every time you add it, it will be keep. They'll keep doing the minus, minus, minus. Then they will come to know how many theory marks and how many lab marks. So we have to hide the total column also. But to hide the total column, the procedure is a little bit different. When you click this one, you will get a column. You will get something like edit column information. Once you do the edit column information, there is one option here called, you will get a big screen. Under the big screen, you have many sections. The last section is options. In the last option sections, you will see this, show this column to the students. Say no, choose this no, and then submit. Once you do this, you will see your total column will be like this before, and after that it will be hidden from the students. So this is how you will hide the columns from just to maintain the integrity. But otherwise, our students will just start coming. They will ask teacher, why my midterm marks, so why my final marks is less, final lab marks are less, and so many other things. So thank you for your time. So now it is floor is open for question and answer session, and inshallah we will give 10 minutes up.
Okay, Mr. Karim. Well, we really would like to have question and answer for Mr. Karim because there are many important issues that's been discussed here. But unfortunately, we are running over our time, right? I suggest that we will keep the question for tomorrow's session. Inshallah, tomorrow the session will be shorter and we will have more allocation for question and answer. All right. I know there are many important questions, so we apologize because as we can see that the participant many also has left because of the time. All right. So inshallah, we will keep the question and answer for tomorrow. Okay, and on behalf of the directorate, I will like to thank all of you who participated, and don't forget to take the survey and fill up your attendance. Okay, so thank you very much for your participation, and inshallah, we hope to see you tomorrow at the same time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Salam alaikum.